What's good, everybody? This your boy Mike coming to you from Reality Warpers. Yo, I got a question. Do spiritual topics pique your interest? Do you desire unique conversations? Sit down, calm your mind. Let's have a conversation. And after we have a talk, if you feel like you got information of substance, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you know anybody that have like minds, share my content, and together we can warp reality. So, without further ado, let's get to the show. What's good, everybody? Thank you for joining me here on another awesome episode of Reality Warpers. And today we have a very special guest, my mother. So, going through my growing and my awakening within myself and understanding who I am, me and my mom, we, have a very strong connection and a very strong relationship. We do a lot of talking, we do a lot of communicating. And the things that I talk about is, you know, kind of different from what we grew up with and what I grew up with learning in the church and different things of that nature. So, just after a while of having conversation, she got curious and just wanted to pick my brain a little bit and, figure out what I feel about certain things and how I feel about life and spirituality and, different things about life, excuse me, nowadays. So I guess this is my first little interview here. Um First, before we start, I want to, let her introduce herself and give her the mic for a second. So there you go.
Okay, well, um, there's not much to say about myself. I let my actions speak for me. I'm not so much a big talker, but when I get started, I can really talk. But I am his mother, Vira Wynn, and I'm a minister and also an artist, a writer. Um, and there's a whole lot more to know about me, but that time will come. And right now, it's all about him. I'm just curious about some things because I know in his childhood days, things that he talks about now, and the way he acts and what he believed in. I had no knowledge of a lot of this. So I'm just curious as to where this um, breakthrough happened with him. And what I wanted to do was ask him a few questions. I don't know if he ever talked to you all about it or not on any of his videos, but I want him to go way back to his childhood and just tell a little bit about his childhood. And that way, um, we could bring you up to date on his belief uh, now.
Okay. All right. So I guess this is gonna be a pretty interesting video, pretty interesting episode. So again, I thank you all for joining me here. Um, so we're gonna start. So let's
All
start off
right.
with your first interesting question.
Okay. I tell you all, I am excited about this. I I want you all to really listen to what he tells you because I'm going to relate to how it was way back then and what we did not know. But right now, I want him to tell us a little bit about his childhood memory, whether it's in school, whether it was at home, and we're going to get into the church part. But as he was being raised, as you was being raised, just give us a little bit about what you want to tell us.
Um, I was raised in a Christian home, a God fearing home, of course. Um, Discipline was a big thing. We wasn't the children to like act out and stuff like that in public, and we did our work and stuff at school. Yeah, we was talkative kids, or I was a talkative kid, but I guess that worked out for my benefit in the long run. But I was a talkative kid. I just like to express myself, when I was young, and I had a lot of energy. So, I did things like sports when I was growing up, played little minor league football for a little while. Then, in church, I was a singer. So I sung in what the choir and stuff like that. A lot of times growing up, I was actually a lead singer, but it was a way I was able to release energy, and I didn't know that. I didn't understand that when I was growing up. But I was ahead of the curve on a lot of things when it comes down to someone of my age, just because the type of energy that was already in me, the type of spirit that was already in me. So I played a lot of sports growing up. I was a very disciplined person. um I actually was the kind of kid that actually liked working out. I would run a lot. Like, I would run and walk a lot. I grew up in the country. So, a very country area, being around nature, being around the woods, and being
Mhm,
around, ponds, streams, and lakes and
mhm.
stuff like that a lot. That was, very big for me. That was very, a big part of my foundation in life. And I really appreciate where I grew up from, and the experience that I had while growing up. Um, but I just, I, when I was coming up, it was just like I said, I was just full of energy. So,
Mhm.
um,
Okay. I noticed you said something about very talkative. Wow. When he said very talkative, my mind went back to every teacher he had to call me or send a letter home, a little note stating that he talked too much in class. And now we see why. See, there's so much we experience in our childhood, and we don't understand at the time while we're there, but we're experiencing, and we're in the making of becoming who we're going to be when we get to that destination
right,
life.
right. It's almost like your mind is subconsciously preparing you for your future. Like, it's
Mhm.
already grooming you from a child on what you're gonna be.
Mhm.
Your environment and everything. I understand now that nothing is a coincidence.
Mhm.
So what you experienced in your childhood, how you grew up and everything, it was just experiences to prepare you for where you are now, to strengthen your mind, to strengthen your body, to strengthen your emotions, to strengthen your spirit, to strengthen everything to for you to be able to overcome the experiences and different obstacles that you are going to experience now in the time of life you're in now. It was just something to prepare me for that.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, we know about your childhood, and you remember quite a bit. There's so much more. Books need to be written, but we're going to continue on. Um,
one day, maybe, I'm sure. One day. One day.
all right, tell me what you remember about church. Um, you can talk about um, things you did in church. You already mentioned some
Mhm,
about you singing in church and
mhm.
things like that. But tell me about the message coming from um, the pastor.
W
Just things of that nature.
well, Imma say this. When I was young, I was extremely impatient, and just growing over time, the experiences that I've gotten over time helped me with working on that patience. And I can say I have come a long way, but there was a lot I could not remember about what the preacher was preaching. There was just a lot I just could not remember because I would get agitated around the end. Like I would, my attention would be on it for a little while, and then after a while, my stomach would start bothering with me. And I'm young, so I'm not like in that mindset of control yourself, control your body, control your bodily functions that's going on. I wasn't in the mind of that. I'm like, yo, bro, I gotta use the bathroom and I'm hungry and I'm ready to go. Like I really want to look at cartoons right now. So like when I was growing up, I would pay attention to the pastor, but sometimes it sound repetitive to me. So I would kind of lose interest in a way. Cause now how I am now, I'm a science nerd. I love science. I love experimenting with things. I love learning something new all the time. And if it's something that's like that, it's always sparking my attention. But when I was growing up in church, I used to wonder to myself, why they keep preaching about the same thing? And I mean, I'm like, yeah, I know I didn't like completely hear the full sermon last Sunday, but it's like we kind of heard this one. And just over time, it was like I was hearing the same sermons, but just in different ways. Like as a child, I was the books of the Bible that I was interested in as a child was Kings and Revelation. And it's very, very seldom that I hear people preach outside of books like Genesis, Psalms, um, Proverbs, like some of the earlier books in the Bible, but
Mhm.
it's like I was always hearing them using the same scriptures, but just throwing their own little twist to it. So yeah, I was hearing a different twist to it and all of that, but that will only catch my interest by so much. I wanted to learn deeper knowledge, deeper
Mhm.
information. I want to learn more about it. So when I was growing up in church, like I got more of like a foundation of how I should act versus the knowledge of what I should do, if that made sense. Like you should always be, respectful. You should always be, respect your elders and, talk in a certain tone, in a certain manner and stuff like that. Networking and stuff was great, and all that because we went to different churches and we was meeting different people going on different trips and stuff like that. And it was like kind of like a way of grooming you to be a good adult. Like, yeah, you was gonna be a good adult, but like how much knowledge was you gonna have as that good adult? Like it's like you was kind of like set to a certain limit, you know. And that's just what I got from it, looking at it from my point of view now, back as a child, that's kind of what I got from it when I was growing up.
Okay. Um, what I was getting out of, you responding to that, the way I see it is when you were in church back in that time, they were actually setting, um, well, I'll put it this way: your foundation starts at home
Yeah,
with your
foundation.
parents. Your parents are your first teachers. And when you go to church, then you have the pastors, the ministers there, and other people in the church. They build on that foundation. And as you grow and as you branch out, then you find other people in your circle,
Hmm.
and they are also building on that.
Mhm.
That can only happen if you allow them. When you allow them to build on that foundation, you get to a point in your adult life where now you're actually doing things on your own. It's like you feel you're strong enough to do it.
Mhm.
You had enough mentors in your life when you were younger coming up to get you to the point where you are now. But I realize the mentors you have now in your life, they are totally different than the mentors you had
Right.
then, mainly because they are the ones with that has gone out into deeper debt,
Mhm.
you know, the depths of things,
Yes, I got you.
and higher heights. And they have experienced and they have researched and they have found out things that people who um, um, poured into your life back then
Mhm.
did not have.
Right.
Most of those people were trapped
Mm.
in tradition. You have to break through that tradition
Mhm.
in order to encounter something new.
New information, new knowledge,
Yes, and it
wisdom.
makes you more curious
Right.
and you want to branch out. In other words, you want to step outside
Yeah.
that box. You cannot stay inside the box.
Mm.
Staying inside the box means you only see the four corners, the four walls
Mhm.
that's inside of that box.
Mhm.
But once you're outside that box, in other words, there's no door for you to walk out. You got to climb. And
Mhm.
climbing is your growth.
Yes.
When you are growing, you are climbing to the top.
Yes.
And once you're outside that box, you're over that box, there's so much in this world to see,
Mhm.
so much to learn, so much to know.
Mhm.
So I thank you for sharing your childhood about the church and what you learned, what you
Yeah.
encountered there.
And
Um,
and going back to what you were saying about you having to get out the box and stuff like that, I was a very adventurous child.
yes.
Part of that coming from um staying out in the country, so it wasn't much technology for me to play with and stuff. I actually had to go outside and play and find something fun to do. And that Aries in me, I'm an Aries. So, that adventurous side of me just flows, naturally and stuff. So I took that foundation and I kind of put that to a lot of different things in my life. So I always like to grow. I always like to find something new.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to, experiment with things and get my own experience and understanding of, you know, what I do now. I call myself now like a spiritual scientist. When I'm researching and I'm studying this stuff, like I'm actually doing what they're telling me to do. So they're telling me to try this in a certain meditation or read this book or whatever. Like I'll go and do what I can and get the knowledge and information that I can, apply it to my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing different results and different things happening. And, you know, a lot of times you understand that your belief is what powers, what you think about. So if when you start understanding like when you that this is working for you because you truly and honestly believe in it, now you start walking a different way. You start talking a different way. You start, carrying yourself with confidence because you've
Mm-hmm.
seen, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen, I've experienced. I
Mm-hmm.
I know for sure that this is real. So you can believe me or not, but I know what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I've experienced. And now that I'm actually out of that box and
Mm-hmm.
able to go out and experience these things, that growth is just, oh man, it's something special. I can say that.
It is. It really is. I've learned a lot from him. Um, I was always um, a loner. I was never alone
That's where I get that
because
from.
I come up I come up in a family of 11. There was 11 of us, and with my mom and dad, that's 13 people, in a house. But I knew I was different. I mean, everybody I um feel that they are different than someone else. But this difference I'm talking about, it goes deeper
Mhm.
than just saying, oh, I'm different. My nose not shaped like yours, my eyes are bigger than yours, or my color hair is not the same color. It goes deeper than that. This thing is spiritual.
Yeah.
It really is. It's spiritual. I mean, it connects with the universe. We talking about the universe. We talking about um the discernment that you feel in the atmosphere.
Mhm.
Um, to be honest with you, my son, my only son, he helped me break through to this thing. He talks about energy. He talks about frequencies. He talks about vibrations. And when he explained to me about these things, it's like, wow, I've already experienced these things, but I didn't know the proper name for them. And also the outer body experience, visions and dreams that I've had is like amazing. Um, I am a visionary. Uh, there's I'm prophetic as well. Um, things has been, and you may call them like predictions and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but like I say, speaking spiritual, um, according to God, the great I am,
Mhm.
is prophetic, and not just getting into that right now because I'm quite sure this not going to be our last
Oh, no,
video.
not at all.
But there's some deep stuff that I learned from him. He branched out, and I'm glad he did. It's like I was much older when I climbed out of that box. He, in his younger age, he's much younger than I was, and he's outside of the box. And with him being outside of the box, it's like um, he found me. In other words, I was at a slow pace learning things outside of the box. But when he started learning, it was like there was a race where there was no end. He just kept going and kept going and kept going, and he caught up with me, and he have taught me some things, and it makes a whole lot of sense with what I have experienced in my life. And now the question I want to ask him, it's like I understand after all the childhood memories and church experiences and Bible beliefs and things of that nature. I want to know, what is this extraordinary awakening, and
Mm.
what you have encountered with this astonishing belief that you have. Like, what is this thing?
Well,